4. Go, 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 go!
Nice. Very nice. Front to back. Leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent, I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
Welcome back to the OTV podcast. You're back with us again for another punishing week of World Cup chit-chat from this time the Val Di Sole World Cup round, final of the season, and boy, what a race it was. Nail-biting to the end in the women's race and the men's. But before we get into that too much, I'd like to welcome back Red Dog. We've found him again. He's made it back. Welcome back, Red Dog.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. It's great to be back. I travelled out to the regions to sort of promote the podcast. Travelled home last week to my native Palmerston North, and surprisingly, no one had heard of it. So,
how did the promotion go though? Do you think maybe we've got one or two more listeners this week?
yeah, we might have lost some listeners. Oh no, hang on. I did see Cow over the weekend, and he said that he'd love to listen, but he doesn't know how. So if we can get him on board, that's an extra one.
So does that mean, Red Dog, that we've confirmed that Cow is not the cow in the fantasy league?
Incorrect. Cow is the cow in the fantasy league. Yes. Yeah, we can dive into that. That was a whole thing. Yeah,
that is great. Fantastic. We'll have to get into that, the fantasy side of things. We'll have to remember to talk about fantasy. But also, joining us again, third show in a row, Chris Vanderkolk. Welcome back, Chris.
Pleasure to be back. Thanks very much for having me again, guys. Just want to let you know that I've actually got an agent now, so this media career is taking off, and I'll remember you guys as it starts to soar over the next couple of years. So,
can't wait to hear you on the Downtime podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll be dealing with Lucas Myrtle.
Fantastic. He gets people
paid. What the fuck is that?
It's Jet Lawrence's agent. Agent to the stars.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still watching the Deegan podcast, Red Dog. So.
Oh shit! No, I think you're talking about the YouTube channel there, mate. He's a visual artist.
Okay. Well, I've had 4 gins, so give me a break.
Yeah, we're more in the face for radio type of league down here.
Yeah, but, face for radio and the voice for radio.
So you're in the tropics, Chris?
I'm actually I'm in Port Douglas at the moment, just on holiday with the family. But I thought while I was over here, I'd do a little bit of a recce for the upcoming Crankworks in Cairns, where there's also a cricket match on at the moment, which Red Dog is watching. Chances are Red Dog's going to watch the cricket, but not the Crankworks. So terrible place for a bicycle event, though. It's too hot.
Completely unplanned. The top of my notes, I had what's more dead, Crankworks or cyclocross?
Is cyclocross dead, is it?
It's on the way up, isn't it?
Well, I think it might have hit its peak. I think gravel might have kind of taken over that niche these days. But
that's just kind of bullshit because you're a national champion.
Well, I'll take that medal with me to the grave. I'll be wearing that in my coffin, hopefully.
Yeah, but you've got to look a couple of steps ahead here, Red Dog. We're going to see Kerry on the gravel circuit within maybe a season, I think.
Well, the rate I'm going trying to find a drivetrain for my new Stigmata, I'll be on a gravel run bike. It's pretty dismal out there trying to find drivetrains for any sort of road or gravel at the moment.
I'm sure you could pay retail.
Oh, what's that?
No, he quits mountain biking before he pays retail.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be an everyman, but I don't want to pay retail. Let's face it.
Nah, you don't want to be an everyman. It sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
Did you guys watch any downhill racing in the weekend?
I caught a few runs on Sunday morning with my coffee.
Caught a few of them.
You copped?
Pretty good race.
Did you cop?
I copped a few runs.
Yeah, you copped.
I copped
a few runs. It was it's pretty good. First up, that track looks. I mean, it is brutal. It's fucking brutal. But do you reckon it was too much? Or are you into
So,
this?
in my opinion, it's time to put a lock on the gate at the top. That thing is
It's time
beast.
to
It
lock
is
up the black
beast.
snake.
Yeah. I don't know if it's too much, but damn, some bits, that really rocky section, they had it on the footage where you could go high into that right, just looks
Yeah.
horrific. Like, it doesn't even look good to ride.
Nah.
I reckon when the best guys in the world are saying it's fucked, it's blown out, needs to be replaced. I think that's telling you everything you need to know. Can you hear the background, by the way?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Is there a wrestling match going on?
There is, yeah.
Is that someone off the top rope?
Yeah, off the top rope.
Good. So the track is pretty much the same. Well, not totally the same, but it follows basically the same line as it did in 2008. So there's quite a bit of real estate on that hill. I'm sure they could build something new. But
It has actually changed quite a bit. Like, when I was there last, like, 5 years ago, it was certainly different
oh,
from
there's definitely
the
quite a few
original.
bits, but it follows pretty much the same line. Like it goes the same
Yeah,
place basically. And I'm
very
like, maybe,
similar. Some of those key
maybe,
sections are quite similar.
yeah,
But
maybe it's
they've
time
got
just to move it
a
over 50 meters.
they've got a conundrum on their hands though, right? Because that track has sort of become legendary, and it's known as the Black Snake. It's a legendary track. If they go and rebuild a whole new track, they sort of start the legacy from start. Does that matter?
Because it's still got the Val Di Sole name to it, so it's still got some history.
Here's
Val
what
Di
It's
I,
still in the
Sole's
same place.
much like when they shut down Kaka, what do you just get Hill in and you put him on that iron horse and he does one last glorious run and then they
Ah,
shut the gate.
Well, we've
imagine
talked
it.
about this offline, Red Dog, and if they did do that, there'd be a lot that would have to come with it. They'd have to chop the last tree.
Oh, the Kaka one.
Well, both.
Oh, we've been
Right.
through at length the Kaka. When they shut Kaka down, when they finally log it, KB does the final run, jumps over the river that's there, renews the vows, of course, and then they chop down the tree.
Yeah, but you'd have to do the same thing in Val Di Sole.
Yeah,
Is Hill going to
shut it
renew his
down,
vows?
boys.
Hard to say. Won't speak for him, but it seems appropriate.
He
Why
rolls
not?
straight into Samapalooza at the bottom.
Yes.
Oh man, the shit that comes out of this podcast. Yeah.
It's already off FaceTime.
Oh, it's only 7.5 minutes in. It's gone
We've got
well
the
in the
Hill
boots.
mention
But
done at least, so that's good.
yeah, so we got that out of the way. But yeah, I was hoping, as always, I was hoping Horse might be able to actually come on and give us some insight. But he's once again, we should just call this the Left on Scene podcast because he's essentially just left us on scene again. I thought, he'll have some good insight. He might have some team rumors. He might have some news, but he's failed to make an appearance again. So we'll take that out of his next paycheck. But that's another topic. But the junior men, with the hill mention, Jackson Goldstone goes down on what looks to be a winning run on the hill corner, on that left-hander at the bottom.
I
And
take exception to this.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off there, Kiri,
Yes.
because he wasn't on a hill run. He was on a good run.
no, he was on a
But he
winning
wasn't
run,
hill
but he
run,
went.
was he?
No, I said he was on a winning run, but he went down on the hill corner.
Was he on a
Okay.
winning run? Was he on a winning run?
He was up at all the splits, wasn't he?
No. He was
Was he
down
not?
to second at the fourth split.
Ah, well, maybe that was me not paying enough attention, but I'm a shitty man.
He was in
I know nothing
contention
about it.
for the win. He was in contention.
Yeah, okay.
There is the media are saying that he was on. They've compared his run to the Sam Hill run because he crashed in the same place.
Hmm.
But the Sam Hill run is not famous because Sam Hill crashed. It's famous because he was up by like 4
Oh,
seconds when he crashed
Yeah,
on a track that you can't be up
in
by
the
4
rest.
seconds. Exactly. And
Yeah.
still then got in third.
No, he just went down on the hill corner. So snaps his
Was it the hill
handlebars.
corner? It was the hill corner?
Yeah, it was the
No.
end of. It was basically the same thing, like on the exit of
okay.
that corner. Snaps his handlebars, snaps the left-hand side of his handlebars, and has to ride through to the finish with only one side of his handlebar. he have you seen the helmet cam footage of his run?
I've seen it. I haven't heard it. I heard he was not very happy.
So I skipped to the end of it just to see the crash go down, basically, and he picks the bike up, grabs hold of the handlebar, basically with what's left of it, the couple of inches that's sticking out. Meanwhile, the rest of his handlebar is bouncing in and out of his front wheel. So
Oh.
he makes the quick
Oh, that's
decision to
rough.
pick that up and hold it, and it's just basically constant beeps the whole way down through to the finish line. I mean,
Oh.
That's rough.
I can't say I wouldn't be pissed. It's your final race as a junior, which you'd be hoping to go out on top and win, especially after you missed out on the world champs last week. I mean, he had the World Cup overall wrapped up already, but yeah, I can see why he was a bit disappointed there.
Do you think he was just annoyed? Was he annoyed with the bar breaking or annoyed with the crash?
I'd say it was the crash. But without the bar breaking, he probably would have actually still been in. Well, he only missed out on third by half a second, so there's a good chance he still got second place, because second place was a solid 10 seconds back of Jordan Williams.
Yeah. Ryan Pinkerton,
Yeah,
who I always call Percy Pilkington because it's in this kid's book that I read.
it's great.
Mm.
It's a good story.
Yeah, I know but I can't stop saying it now. It's Horses Guy.
Did you? Oh, is he on GT?
Yeah, great knowledge. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's
Who
Horses
knew?
Guy.
I don't follow the junior class that deeply. So Jordan Williams though, fastest time of the day by like 3 seconds.
Was it 3 seconds? I knew it was fastest. I
It
hadn't
was
looked.
something like that. But I mean, this has got to be track changing, right? We can't. I can't take 3.8 seconds. I can't take that as, not some sort of effects of track changing or something.
I mean, but how much did it?
You cannot give me
it
a
rained.
junior
It
winning
rained.
by
It
nearly
rained.
4 seconds.
Nah, it's not.
Did it rain? Did it rain between juniors and elite?
It rained in the elites. Like it rained right at the start of the elites. Like even
Actually, that
who
had to.
was guys were like coming through and it was pissing down at the top. Like
yeah, and we didn't see
Shaw maybe
a
and
lot
stuff.
of the track in the broadcast, but there were definitely sections that were in the broadcast that they were struggling in because of the wet. There was a route section that they were being a bit cautious on.
Greasy sections in there for sure.
Yeah.
So no, that's all right. We've got to the bottom of that.
I also reckon that
any time that the juniors put 3 seconds into the elite, I'm sorry, but
I
you've got to ask questions.
I want to see them all thrown back in there. Whether it's, I don't care whether they just get put into, like they qualify, they still get the top, whatever of them qualify, and then they just put them in with elite wherever they fit into place. I guess they want to keep it as out of it, but it's like, it's not even like they broadcast any of the junior racing or anything. So why not? If these dudes like Jackson and Jordan are fast enough to be up in the top 10, fuck, put them in there. They deserve to be in there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is something that hopefully changes next year, is they look at the top couple of juniors and either broadcast them especially or just qualify them for the big show.
But it's like, just run them with the elite and run all of them, like, qualify the top 15 or whatever it is that get in. And, maybe the first 10 of them start before the elite men because they're not as fast, but the next 5 are scattered throughout the top, say for argument's sake, the top 30, if that's what happens next year. And then they just still get their own podium at the end of the day. Why not?
Yeah, I reckon, like, there's so much chat around, but 3 seconds up or over the elites, and they kind of get held up as being elite beaters now, but would you
put them into elite next year and they ain't doing that?
Yeah, like in this, I mean, it has been done, hasn't it? First year elite wins. Did Tebow do it at Leger, or was that second year elite?
Might have been second.
But that's only happening because those guys they're at elite level and elite age, and they're good enough, right? So like, you sort of expect that every now and then there'd be a junior that comes through that when they hit elite, they're good enough to podium.
Yeah,
wouldn't happen often, but
no,
it should happen.
No, they all kind of come around like that. But yeah, I'd like to see them racing with the elite, just for purely to get rid of the pink bike comments about how fast he's. I mean, no disrespect, they're obviously very fast and very good, but you know, if Jordan was racing at the same time as everyone else in the elite, he wasn't winning by 3.8 seconds. I'll take that to the bank.
No, I agree. I 100% agree with that. Is has this year been a success for Jackson? I mean,
Same
he's
time.
overall
Yeah,
winner, but
yeah. It's a huge success for him because he goes into elite with a huge profile and a big name,
To be
and
fair, he had much the same last year though, but I think he has improved. Like he's got even faster again this year because he was world champ last year. So
yeah,
I'm sure he would have liked to have gone in with 2 world championships. I'm sure that's what they're all
gunning
hoping
for.
for. But I mean, there's no doubt he's set in stone as a you know the next guy.
But would you
I
say that Jordan Williams' stock has gone up?
Oh, 100%. I think Jordan has proved himself pretty heavily that he's right there with him this year. Like he hasn't had quite the consistency of Jackson, but he's had,
Mm,
like you look at this race and regardless, fastest time of the day, it's still impressive.
yeah,
World champ. So for sure, he's right there with him. I mean, we've seen plenty of these guys come through at the same time. A couple of them come through at the same time like this. So
yeah.
it's just the next 2 dudes to come move their way into elite. Who do you reckon is going to step into their place?
Who's first year?
Oh, like Jordan's moving, Remy's moving up, Jackson's moving up. Yeah, I don't
Ryan
really know. It's
Pinkerton is first year, I'm pretty sure. Is he?
Yeah, I think so. It's
Hang
going to
on.
be
Where's the show additional columns thanks to Roots and Rain? It'll tell me
yeah,
their age.
it's what I was just looking at
I,
now.
I
Yeah,
reckon this
Ryan
is
is
that question though, Kerry, is why the juniors are so, for lack of a better way of putting it, tenuous. Because you could have someone come out of anywhere, like any country, who we don't know about, that most of the world doesn't know about, who just kind of dominates in their first year racing a World Cup
yeah.
season.
That's the
Like
thing. That
you're going from 17s to 19s, really.
there could be someone who's waiting to step in next year who does the same thing as Jackson did when he moved in. There could
Exactly.
be some Euro kid that we're not sure about, but
Probably from Italy with a massive helmet.
Yeah.
the big golf balls.
David Capello of the Rogue Racing After Skull team. He's probably going to be number one next year.
After skull.
After skull.
Yeah.
He'll get you.
That sounds gnarly.
Hang on. Isn't
Is
old, maybe Hugo Marini? Is he a first year? I feel like
Yeah,
he's pretty
Hugo
legit.
Marini is. Bodie Kuhn. He is
Bodie
as well.
Cohn. Tegan Cruz, I think, is pretty legit.
Yeah.
But
you know,
I mean, I hesitate to say it, but they're no Jackson Goldstone.
Nah. We'll see. We'll get there when it's time.
I
As
think you've got a 2 year window for a Jackson Goldstone to come through and just dominate for 2 years. Like that's all. There could be someone that comes in we've never heard of that will dominate for 2 years and then go to elite.
Hey,
Same thing.
isn't it
true.
fucked though? How when you go Jackson Goldstone, I remember when his run bike video came out.
Yeah.
I try not to think
Just-
about it.
yeah, that makes you feel way too old. Right, that's enough of the junior men. Junior women, another third place for Jenna Hastings. Got her way onto the podium and ended up third equal overall with Isabella Yankova, but they gave third to Isabella because she got the best result the final round, or the better result.
Is that how that works? Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's been a solid season for her.
It has been. I mean, you're a world champ. I probably wouldn't have raced this one. I would have just left it. No point.
She um is that her last year as a junior? I think it might be.
I
Yeah,
think.
it is.
Are you sure?
2 seconds, caller. I'm just got to go back to the junior men so I can work it out from them.
2004.
Great radio here.
Hang
Yeah, it
on.
is. She was born in 2004.
Oh wow. Oh, I thought this was a first year, and I was like, oh sweet,
Yeah,
she'll be
same.
insane next year.
So Gracie Hemstreet, she's been strong this year. So she won. Isabella Yankova second, Jenna a third. All of them moving up. So yeah, kind of opens the door again.
It's not often you get a dominant 2 years of dominance in the junior women, eh?
Nah, not really.
I wonder why that is.
We talked about this last week, Gary. There needs to be more depth coming into elite women's, and it has to come from more juniors coming through quickly, right?
Yeah,
And more of those elite women staying in the category for longer.
I think those three are going to be pretty legit. I think that we just named off. Like I think they'll go pretty good up in the elite. So it'll be interesting to see when they move up. It's definitely getting to be a way more competitive field for sure.
And there's no one really stepping out of elite women next year in the top sort of 10 that we know of?
Nah. I think everyone's still around, so it should be another
That's
pretty
good.
competitive year.
That's awesome.
Hopefully, maybe even get some Rachel Atherton back in there.
That'd be cool.
Rachel and Tani back in the mix. That'll
yeah,
shake things up.
Tani will be back too, so that's that just expands it even more. But man, elite woman was pretty good. I think mostly based on the storyline of Cami Blanche coming in with a 3.5 weeks off collarbone surgery from her broken collarbone. Missed the last round. Came in with, I don't know exactly what the points lead was, but she had to be, if Valley won, Cami had to be fourth or better. She came through into fourth, and then got bumped back into fifth by Jess Blewett. But man, I was pulling for her. I was hoping she was going to win it, and Valley kind of fell apart a bit in her run, and ended up third. So Cami won it with her hand velcroed onto her handlebars.
It was velcroed on.
Yeah, for extra
What a
grip. She had
savage.
Velcro on her gloves and on her grip to so she could hold on. I mean, you could see she was battling through it, but man, she was fucking impressive. Still to pull a fifth.
She for someone who was riding injured, she took some pretty big hits. Like,
there was a couple where I was
landed
like,
a couple of things, and I was like, "How have you held on?"
Yeah, I was like, how is that shoulder? Like, how are you even holding that up at the moment?
It was nuts.
It's a rough track to come into it injured.
Yeah.
At all.
So pretty awesome to see her take the overall. She's been a late bloomer because she's really come on like the last 3 seasons. So it was impressive.
Well, she's only been riding since 2018 or something. They say that every broadcast.
That's right. Yeah.
So I have another question about women's then, and that light is how many women could we see come in that don't come in through juniors? Because most of the guys come in through juniors, right? But how many women that could come in through straight into senior who come out of big local scenes or whatever else that we don't know about? Like, we need 1 or 2 top level women to come into elite, plus the juniors come in. Suddenly you've got sort of a field of maybe 15 really competitive women, and the whole thing gets a bit sharper.
Yeah, not that I have the time to do this, but I'd be interested to go back through, and look at even like 10 years ago and kind of look at the top 15 and see what those time gaps were like. But I don't reckon it's changed all that much, really. Like, the pointy end of the field has always been at the pointy end of the field, like there's always been kind of 2 or 3, or, even up to kind of like 5 at the moment that are the dominant ones.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Chris is just walking around the outside of a house, so it's quite distracting.
He's just taking us through a ticket tour. I wasn't actually looking at him. I was looking at the results from the last race.
You guys carry on. Don't worry about me.
Man, Miriam Nicole put down a stormer. She was out for that win for sure.
Oh yeah, she was visibly pissed at World Champs. So
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So she put in like a 4-second win, which was pretty impressive over Nina Hoffman. Man, Nina's been consistent this year. She's pulled some seriously good results off too.
Do you know the weird thing I find with Nina is I never watch her and think, and she looks good. Like
Nah,
she always looks like it's a bit shabby. I don't
but
know how
she's
I
always
can't put
going
my finger on it. Yeah,
she's always going quite fast.
yeah. But
It's
she always looks like a bit ragged. I'm like, oh, she looks
yeah,
doesn't look quite on, but then she is. It's crazy.
something on the riding style.
Yeah.
Valley Hole, who had qualified first and finished third. And then we had New Zealand's own, Jess Blewett, in fourth place. So another podium for her. She's been coming on real strong, which is good. She was fastest at the speed trap and fastest in the last two splits as well.
Faster at the speed trap.
Yeah. So she had some good pace. She was real strong in the last split actually. Last two
Yeah,
splits.
nice.
So
She
good
looks good.
stuff for
That
her.
bike looks real good, eh?
Oh, it's a big improvement over their old ones.
Massive improvement. And obviously we'd credit Horse, but he's not here, so it can't be him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to give a percent pie, if he was here, we'd probably give him more, but we
No,
won't. Yeah,
not really much, eh? But it is a massive improvement, and her bike in particular looks really dialed. Ethan Craig's
yeah.
looks really good as well.
No, they seem to be onto a good thing because their old bikes were not looking that good.
No, not at all. And
Red
is
Dog.
she gonna be a win contender in the future?
I reckon. She's young, man. Like she's quite a
She
bit
is,
younger than
yeah.
those other girls that she's racing against there. So, give her a couple more years, and she'll be strong. Like I think if she can stay uninjured, that's kind of been a bit of a crux at the moment. I think that she's hurt herself reasonably badly a couple of times.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Red
she
Dog, I'm
can
just going to go
last.
back a couple of steps there. I'm sorry for not jumping in earlier, but talking about Nina not looking
Mm.
comfortable on the bike. Do you think that's got anything to do with the bike?
Here we go.
I mean, I won't comment on. I don't set these things up, do I? So, but yes, it does. Yeah, heaps to do with the bike. Essentially, that Santa Cruz dog shit. Is that what you're asked for?
Look. I mean, you're an engineer.
Wow.
You've
Because
spent
the
a bit of
Santa
time
Cruz
around downhill
negotiations
bikes,
for a sponsorship
and
for the podcast.
I just
No, her bike looks
shot
pretty good.
ourselves in the foot, haven't we, Kerry?
The bike looks good, except I don't know if it's just like her frame or whatever, but it looks like slightly small. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. But nah, the bike looks fine. I think it's just like her style always looks a bit ragged, and the bike moves around a lot. And
At
so
the
you're
end
like,
of the day,
oh yeah,
our opinion's good for nothing anyway.
Yeah, we can't really know anything from our couch.
oh
Um,
absolutely not. I know less
right.
than nothing.
I want to move on to a couple of points. So Finn Isles sat out this race, decided to sit it out after his concussion at Leger, which I thought was pretty smart. There was a bit of an interview going on that he was talking to Sven and basically saying, kind of for the longevity of his career, he'd rather not push it because he wasn't feeling that good. So good on him. I know we've talked about it a couple of times already, but it's good to see people actually going, you know what, this race isn't that important. So with
Because
that, he was
he said that it
still,
was affecting his vision, like his
yeah,
neck was
Yeah,
like
that's pretty bad.
tight.
Because he lined up for practice, if I recall, in the early coverage at the beginning of the week.
I think he was
He
on the
was
bike
taped
at
up and he
one
was
point.
on the bike, ready for practice, and then he called it.
But you see, it was actually interesting listening to that little interview because he officially took himself out of starting at Leger because UCI was handing out fines for people who didn't do like proper medical clearance to not start. So a whole bunch of people got fined. Tahoto was one of them for failing to show at the start line. And so Finn went and actually put an official, went to a UCI doctor and basically was like, look, this is what happened. And they were like, yeah, you've got a concussion. So yeah, it's not safe for you to race. So he took himself out officially. So he didn't get fined. And then the UCI almost, I don't think they officially kind of benched him, but I think he had to kind of be re-cleared again if he was going to race this weekend. But he also said that Angel Suarez had to sit out 2 weeks. The UCI made him sit out. So Interesting that there is actually some like concussion protocols kind of being put in place.
You'd have to think that if it's not already there, it's got to be coming, right? Like, if the UCI is the governing body of the sport and of the athletes' eligibility to race, then concussion protocols have to exist, because otherwise they're affected by sponsorship pressures or personal pressures or whatever else to go and race when they shouldn't.
Well, they have them in the EWS, so I'm sure they'll. I'm sure they'll bring them over into downhill racing. They'll move their kind of stuff like that over. I'm sure next season.
So if you say in Tohoto's case at World Champs, he broke his scaphoid?
Yeah.
And so he's got a broken arm, and he hasn't cleared it with the UCI doctor.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't show for the start line. Then he gets fined.
Yeah, so they were fining people for not showing up.
Counterintuitive.
It's ridiculous. Tani Seagrave got fined. She wasn't even there.
No way, did she?
She was on the
at Val Di Sole or at Leger. She was at
Leger. She was on the Great Britain. Well, she wasn't racing. She never even lined up. She never rode practice or anything. So you kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Because doesn't that incentivize them just to line up? Like, shit, I'll get fined if I don't go to the UCI doctor, so I'm just going to line up.
No, that's an admin thing. That's not like incentivizing. Like, that rule doesn't exist to incentivize them to line up. That I can't say why the rule exists, but it's there to make sure that they.
I guess they're
right?
probably trying to just keep the start list cleaned up, especially if you've got dudes in like the top 20, and then someone doesn't show up. But then they still had Finn on the start list, because there was still a big blank period where Finn was supposed to be racing. So
yeah, but you can't expect UCI to have some form of organisation there. That's
true.
It's asking
They're
a lot.
pretty notorious for not doing much. On the continual injuries theme, did you see Minar's crash from practice?
Yeah, it's pretty dirty. Dirty.
3 broken vertebrae.
That's rough.
That's rough when you're like 40 years old.
Yeah. That is rough.
I'm sure he'll be back.
It was a shame not to see him, because he's so good there.
Yeah. Especially like the last, winning Worlds there last year. I'm sure he was wanting to lay down something good to finish the season out. Especially because he's had some stronger rides.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, I'll put it to you. Was the bike to blame?
No, I think if anyone's going to have that bike dialed, it's Greg Minar, right? Like,
if anyone wants to join the podcast, there's 2 spots open up. Effective immediately.
Red Dog, I think we've cracked him.
It's taken how many episodes, but we got there.
So we got there in the end. No, I think, look, it's a shame to see the GOAT go out like that. I've got to say though, it's hard to take a read on where his head's going to be at, but that's going to be a rough way to end a season for him.
He's the sort of guy though that I feel like he will go be in a neck brace for 3 months, and he's going to be like
hungry.
These fucking guys, like, I'm coming back next year, and he'll come back and win a race or something.
Oh yeah,
comes out swinging.
So,
but having said that, Kerry, because you're backing him, he won't.
Yeah, no, he won't win again, so then we will see another win added to the record.
Yeah,
Blinky also out of the finals with a final practice crash, unfortunately, so he didn't make it through.
Yeah, that was lame.
He didn't make it to the race run at least. Unfortunate end of the season for him as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what my favourite part of the broadcast was? Seeing Jeremy Christmas in the start hub.
Yes, I got that as a note. Jezza sighting.
Yeah, he was there. Big cheesy
I thought
grin.
I saw him at World Champs. He was at the bottom, I'm pretty sure.
He would have been there for sure.
Yeah, he would have been.
Oh, Jeremy.
How good's a Jezza sighting? Everyone was paying when we were at National Champs and I was riding a bike that was 10 years old. He was doing the start, or not National Champs, that National Race at Coronet. He was in the start line and everyone was paying me out about having an old bike, including Chris. And then he paid me out about having an old bike and that it was from when I last raced and stuff. It was great.
It's brilliant.
Was he running the start gate at Coronet?
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good chat, that guy.
Yeah, he's all good. Yeah.
That's him. He's pretty
been
good.
around forever.
Do you know who was at Cyclocross Nationals? Was Derek
That's a
McCarthy.
conversation starter.
Yeah,
Derelict.
yeah, Derek was there on the start
Oh,
line.
he's
He's
still
like,
around.
yeah, he didn't expect to see me rolling up. He's like, Jesus, what are you doing here? I was
Yeah.
like, Derek, I can't miss out on a race, mate. So
Yeah, I'm here.
He can't stay away from competition, can he?
I saw him eating a tray of hot chips and a can of Coke. It was pretty classic.
He loves a Coke, eh?
Yeah,
Remember
he
he loves
does.
a Coke?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, big
There was
Coke guy.
big dramas one year at Oceania's when he was when someone stole one of his Cokes and
Yes.
or maybe a few of his Cokes, and he was not happy. There was a big sit down, a team sit down, and yeah, there was some words had. I believe Nathan Rankin. This was actually part of it was a few of the elite guys had bought beers when we'd gone into town to the supermarket because we were at Threadbow. Mount Buller, and it was like quite a drive in. A few of the guys had bought beers for afterwards. Some of the elite guys. I was a junior at this point, and
Just a few of the guys had, eh?
yeah, and
Yeah.
they got told that they were, in no way or form was there any drinking or anything to be had after the race. And I believe the words that came out of Nathan Rankin's mouth were, "This is the last fucking race I ever come to represent New Zealand at."
Spoiler alert, it probably wasn't.
No, it wasn't. There's definitely a few more after that because they did backtrack and they were allowed to have their beers, but there was an over 18s area set out in the lodge that we're at, and no one
I
else
love
was
that.
allowed in there. It was
Oh,
very
that's great.
yeah.
The New Zealand contingent to the national champs included how do we manage the drinking requirements?
Yeah.
Is that the
Of the
one
senior
where
guys.
is that the one where Scalzi ended up naked?
No, that was Threadbow the next year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, I got maybe a couple of years later. No, it was a few years later. This was 2005 at Mount Buller Oceanias. I
Oh,
got
right.
that same night, being one of the juniors, I got my hazing with a bucket of water over me in the middle of the night. So that
Oh,
was good.
yes.
Did
Yeah.
they do hazing at Oceanias?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you call it hazing, but there was a few juniors that got buckets of water and shit like that all over. Well,
It was
pretty much.
just beating
I
up
think
on Kerry, wasn't it?
I think every
Yeah.
junior, but maybe it was just me. Who knows? Memory fails. I wasn't cool, so it wouldn't have surprised me if it was just me.
Well, it's toughened you up, Kerry.
Yeah, built me into
It
the man
has.
I am today. Running a podcast, talking shit about people over the internet. It's just
Would
what
you
we
say
do.
running? Are we running it?
I
Yeah,
do.
I
Are we letting it run itself?
Yeah, it kind of runs its own course, a very poor course. Right, back on track. Not very much back on track. Who had Loris for the win? I don't think any of us. Red Dog, you listened to the podcast. Do you remember what we predicted?
Um,
I'm sure.
no,
it was
you
all
said it
wrong.
right. You said it right at the end, and to be honest, I'd zoned out after the
Yeah.
stories of Byron and Lester and the camper.
Good call.
That I really would love to relitigate that at some point because who the fuck is taking any sheets or pillows out of that pile? I do not know.
Well, I'll tell you who. Lester and Byron.
It was insane.
I could have told you that before they went on the trip.
But no, I didn't remember who you picked. I don't believe it was any of you picked Loris though.
I'm sure our picks were all
no
wrong.
one
I
picked
think
Loris.
I said Emery from memory, and
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
he had a terrible day.
But I think there were some clues that we didn't pick up on, which was mainly one, Loic being cooked after World Champs. Like every interview since, he just said he was tapped and he couldn't race, and he was close to not racing. So he was never going to be a contender, and we didn't pick that from last week.
Man, you pay way more attention than me. I don't remember ever hearing any of that.
Yeah, there was all these yarns about the whole French team being on the back foot. Because
which
they'd
is
had
why
a huge.
Loris's
looked like
result is amazing. Like,
Yeah, I'd probably need to listen to more interviews. But yeah, he smashed it. So 3-second win. But how about Kolb, the OTB sleeper?
Yeah.
He's always
The
been
like
ultimate
Kolb.
sleeper. Kolb
We
is
like
the ultimate
Kolb.
sleeper.
he's always been the ultimate sleeper. Fastest in time training, fastest in qualifying. And, I mean, Loris put it to him, but man, what a way to end the season with the second place.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's
He,
been the most improved over 2 years, eh?
yeah, and he looks so
Absolutely.
good. Like he just, like
So good.
the bike looks good and everything. Like he doesn't look out of control really. He's,
No, not at all.
I like that bike too.
yeah,
I like the
Me
Atherton
too.
bike. It's a
memories,
good. Charlie Hatton goes well on it as well.
memories of a Sunday right there.
It is.
Mhm.
There's a reason I built it the way they have.
Yeah. No, it's a cool bike, isn't it? It's a cool cool setup they've got going on. You'd hope that those two guys stay on there because they've been really good for them this year.
They've been great. It's been a really tidy team, those two.
Yeah.
The
Real
bike
strong.
looks good all the time as well. Like
Mm.
you're never like, oh
It
yeah,
looks like it
no,
works
that's not
everywhere.
quite right. It looks good all the time.
I think the only
Yeah.
thing that would stop them from staying on there is whether or not the team remains viable. And I say that in a hopeful sense.
Yeah, with the fact that it's
They
not really
rely on
supporting
selling
G and
bikes, right?
yeah,
They've got to sell a fairly boutique bike to fund that race team. And I'm sure Continental's pumping some money into it.
to be fair, the team is probably getting, without the Atherton money, the team is probably running with a couple of guys like that on there. But yeah, you sort of like if G and Rachel aren't coming back full time, yeah, where does it kind of land?
They've got to sell bikes.
Yeah. Right. So at the start of the season, who had both Dakota Norton and Aaron Gwynn standing on a podium together?
I would say I've been a Dakota Norton fan for a while now, and I was glad to see him there.
I am not ashamed to say that at the start of the season, I thought that bike was going probably nowhere near the top 10. So it's very impressive to see them round out the year with a double podium. Especially Dakota was very pumped when he came through the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that would have said, based on looks and the fact that it was so late in the piece when they got it, that it had written those two off because that bike looked like shit.
Yeah, I can't believe people would write off Gwyn. Who would do
I
that?
know, I know. Some people, and some say they are uneducated, would write Gwyn off, but not me. I've been there from the start.
You know what, though? I've got a confession to make. When Gwyn came through and came into the hot seat, I was seriously conflicted between this would be really cool if he wins, and I'd actually be quite stoked for him if he won. But I also don't want him to get any closer to Minar's win record, and that would be another step closer. So I was like, fuck, I really don't know if I want this to happen, but yeah, it would have been pretty cool if he had.
I was the same, except I wasn't conflicted because I want him to beat Minar's win record just because, not because I favour him over Minar, but because it would annoy you. Because I think I've asked before, will he ever beat it? And you've been firm, he will never, and you probably still are. But he's closer. He's closer.
You've got to ask.
It's
they
2
start
wins.
The year next year. One of them being sidelined for 3 months with a neck brace. The other coming off a podium result.
The odds are in someone's favour there, aren't they?
They really are. I've got to say though, Dak's the number one guy on that team.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a big call. It's a big call.
Well, not by status, salary, or where he gets to sit in the van, but he's the guy.
Does Gwyn get the master? Like when they stay, they hire an Airbnb. Does Gwyn get the master bedroom?
Always.
Like with the ensuite, and
he gets the master bedroom.
Does Dak hit the couch?
And when they book the hotels, it's booked under Aaron Gwyn, and then Dakota Norton doesn't actually get his room booked under Dakota Norton. It's booked under Master Gwyn.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Gwyn's son.
Yeah.
Just to really rub it in there.
Yeah. He's got to pull rank where he can, Gwyn.
Yeah. Sure.
He's got to cement that place as being the big dog.
I'm amazed at where Dakota Norton has got to. I didn't expect him to get this good.
No, neither. I don't know why either.
No,
Is it because he
maybe-
didn't? Is he because he didn't go down that traditional route? Like he wasn't a big time
Maybe.
junior coming through.
He,
Although
he
Gwyn
was
wasn't
pulling
either.
results on a KHS, wasn't he? Was he on KHS before
Okay,
Intense?
no, I don't think it was okay. No,
Nah,
not
he
before. He was
rode
on Da Vinci and
he rode like it. Yeah, he was on Da Vinci for a bit. He was on some other like US brand, I think, for a bit, and uh, not Hyper, but something like that from memory. But yeah, no,
oh,
maybe
he
it's
was on
just
Da
because he's
Vinci for a while.
American, and traditionally Americans haven't really gone that well in the last, other than Gwyn for quite
He
some
was
time.
on a YT.
That's right. He was on
He
the
was on.
mob.
He was on a young talent.
Yeah,
That was
He
recently
was
though.
on the.
that was
Yeah, that was very recent.
pre the intense ride.
Yeah.
Do you,
We'll have a look.
Gwyn? This could be pretty dangerous next season. Could you see Gwyn getting like a real resurgence? Do you
If
reckon he could
if
get
I
back?
say no, I'll get accused of not backing my guy. So shit, yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
well, good.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see him coming in real strong next year, like being right around that kind of top 5 thing all the time. I could see him coming back and actually being really dialed.
There
He's
would
done it
be.
before.
It's better for racing, right? Like
Yeah.
to have a guy
For,
like going at the top again.
But
for
like,
the
I don't.
sport, I'd
Yeah.
love to see him come back and battle at the top.
You
For the
can't.
podcast, I'd love to see Red Dog just have to bury his own hero, really.
Oh,
You can't.
I'll just fade away if he starts doing shit. I'll just sort
Just
of never mention his name again,
back into the bushes.
and yeah, probably become a I don't know Greg Minard guy or something.
Yeah, good. You can't put his age as a barrier. Like, I think you probably look at him and you're like, he's quite a bit older than those other guys. But then you look at
He's
Minar and
not
he
that
he
old, is
won
he?
world champs. Oh, he's 35, so he's old. Like he's older. He's not.
Here's a take though: is that I reckon some of those guys who are in their mid-30s, like us,
Yeah,
you know,
but
who
the
are in
guys.
shape, unlike us.
Yeah, I
Well,
was gonna
you
say.
may be the exception there, Kerry.
Yeah, some of us are in shape.
But with their experience in racing and their kind of strength and conditioning, there's no reason they shouldn't be competitive if they've got the head in the game.
No, just like Jay-Z said, at 42 be better than 24. I carry the 4-5, and that's the 45th law, something like that.
I mean,
But
sure.
anyway,
It is just carrying on from your point, Chris. Is downhill becoming more of a thinker's sport? Like, are the days gone of the point and shoot? Doesn't really matter how the bike handles. It's just
I'll
skill.
answer
It's
that.
just fully skill based. Like when you look at Loic, he's the epitome of the entire package, right? Like it's bike, it's skill, it's fitness, it's probably got a good looking rig in terms of upper body.
I'll answer that in two ways. If you're basing it on people who make podcasts on a Monday night or Tuesday night or Wednesday night following the racing, yeah, it's definitely point and shoot. But if you're basing it on the guys that are winning consistently, yeah, I think you're right. I think that if we get a couple of years into the future, there's going to be more Loic Brunies and less, I don't really know who, but
Who are you
less
gonna
wild
throw?
bands. I wasn't going to throw anyone under the bus because it wouldn't be right. But my point is, I think the guys that are going to be winning in a couple of years' time consistently will be the Loics. But I think the tracks will change as well. I think there's the other thing is that the sport will evolve in a way that those guys like Loic will be able to win more consistently. I think the tracks will be less variable race to race.
Yeah.
Like I think we'll see less of a Val Di Sole type situation. Val Di Sole, sorry. Sole.
You'll see less of that.
I think so. I think we'll see more tracks that are
More Leo gangs.
more not predictable, but the guys can kind of prepare for and have data on and analysis on and all that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, right. All right.
And you'll also have, because you're going to have less guys competing in the big show every week, right? So there's less pressure on just being there and qualifying, and more pressure on what do you do in your race run.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's my
I can
diatribe.
see that. I mean, I can
can-
see that. Yeah.
I could see
I
that
wouldn't
going on too.
disagree.
I know it's going to be interesting there. Right, Bernard Kerr, 5th place. Man, he's had a good season.
What a legend!
Has
Fastest
he
team
been?
manager out there,
I don't know how he does that, by the way. Like, how does he manage a team and do that?
especially when he's got to put up with Eddie and Matt Walker.
Yeah, and for that reason, I'm a Kerr guy.
Which one, Henry or Bernard?
Ooh,
Well, both, because we don't know who Henry Kerr
we've
is,
got no
so
idea who
you
he
have
is.
to support
No.
him.
There was some Kerr on Kerr crime up until that last corner as well.
There was Kerr versus Kerr, and I don't know which Kerr it was.
Yeah, neither did the commentary. They weren't sure which Kerr was which.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But yeah, unfortunately for Henry Kerr, because he was on a strong run.
Yeah, there was
I'm
like
still not,
podium stuff.
I'm still not sure who he is.
Pretty insane.
He
I
was,
I think he rode for like
well,
Ben Reed's team, or is that still Ben Reed's team, the
I think he's still,
Propane?
yeah, Ben Reed manages it. So
But I
look at
think
his,
he's been with him for a while.
yeah, I think so. So he was fastest at the speed trap, and then
Jeez.
he went third. So splits were third, ninth, first, and then 53rd for a
So
37 overall.
he was first at the last split.
Yeah,
So with
first.
that, is that meaning like he was
was
on the?
Well, nah, he was fastest in Sector 4. So I don't know exactly where it was putting him, but he went fastest in Sector 4.
Oh, okay.
So it's 37.
Ah,
Like
yeah.
he was right in the mix
Crazy.
for like a third, ninth, or whatever, or third, ninth, first. He was definitely probably sitting right in there around that top 5 position. So yeah, it probably would have been pretty tight between him and Bernie.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. That's out of nowhere. That's another one of these like examples where there's just this ride that someone
Does
has.
Val Di Sole seems to kind of produce those, I feel.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean,
It
like,
has some guys that really excel there.
definitely. Like your 13th and 08.
Yeah, that came out of
So,
nowhere. I never repeated
I've got a
that.
theory on that as well, though, and I think my theory is that
Oh my
It's really
god,
good. It'd be
he's
a
put
really good
himself on
theory if
mute
we could
again.
hear it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be such a good theory.
It's hard to get
Oh,
good
sorry.
help around here. It's because he was getting himself cozy on his bed.
Yeah.
sorry, I'm back.
So what's your theory,
Um,
mate?
Well, it's not really a theory; it's an observation. These guys have come from world champs, and everyone talked about being, a big peak and all the rest of it, and the overall's already been decided. For a lot of guys, this weekend would have been a really good opportunity for a breakthrough result, and for a lot of other guys, it would have been a hard event to build up for and to really perform at.
Yeah,
Because there's nothing on the line.
Bruni to me looked kind of flat in his run. Like he still got a top
Yeah.
10, so it's still a fantastic result, but he didn't look like he was, to me anyway, from the outside looking in, he didn't look like he was pushing it. I mean, he was just
But-
like, fuck it, I've won my title, I can't do anything in the overall, let's get this race done. And
Totally. Even Amory, he crashed in his run, and by the looks of things, a pretty decent crash.
yeah, it was a big
But
one.
as soon as he crashed, he just rolled down the hill because
Oh yeah, it was.
Well,
he had
all
no reason not to, right?
all he had to do was qualify, and that was if Finn was racing, and Finn wasn't racing, and also Emery couldn't not qualify because he was quite obviously protected. So he eventually had the World Cup title wrapped up. All he had to do was make it to his race run and finish his race run.
Yeah.
So,
There was a few guys that looked like that, like was certainly one where they kind of went pushing to the same level as maybe usual. And why would you want to? Like, Loic's got nothing to gain.
nah,
Brosnan kind of looked the same. Like, Yeah, it'd be really
Exactly.
good not to go into this off season with an injury. Like,
Well, especially
so,
when he's just come back for the
yeah,
season, it's like just finish the year out and start
yeah.
again.
Go home,
I
get to
heard,
Salmon Palooza.
I heard a stat that something like 15% of the start list didn't start because or of the qualifying list didn't start because of injury.
Oh
So,
man,
like, if you're sitting there going, you know what, the season's done, I've had a good year, if you're Troy Brosnan, whoever else, like, why would you push it?
yeah. There was actually, yeah, you're right. There is actually quite a
Yeah,
few
there's a
did not
big
start.
chunk.
So I'm just
Yeah,
quickly looking at that now. Few DNFs there.
yeah.
143 dudes racing for 60 spots.
Mm. Yeah, it's a big field.
Mm,
Decent field.
that's pretty decent. Anyone? I mean, Henry. I was going to say, is there anyone that jumped out that you didn't expect to do good? But Henry Kerr is probably the guy there that was on a heater. Ricky
Yeah,
Terry on
he
a
was looking.
ninth was a pretty good result. Haven't seen him
Yeah,
around there for a while.
he but he's never that far away. But when you
Uh,
look at him, especially on that giant, you're not like,
do you forget Giant
yeah,
has a
he's
race
lighting it
team?
up.
Because I do all
He's
the time.
Well, he's it, so it's easy to forget
Well,
when it's
yeah.
one guy. Yeah,
What's
He's a guy who
Giant doing?
his career must have been defined by the team that he's on, not the other way around, right? Like, because he was on Common Sale for a while there,
Yeah, he was on what's now, like the Common Sale Muck-Off team.
mm,
and he did all right. He
He,
did pretty good.
he won a World Cup with him
Yeah,
on boss
certainly did.
suspension.
exactly.
That team has come a long way.
And he had
Yes.
some hearty lines as well. I remember he was sort of like the guy that was hucking lines that no one else was.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah, and
right
he
in the top.
thrives in the steep, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oliver's well with another good result too. Man, he's had some good results. He's stepped up as one of those guys that you just like. Oh, he's in the top 10 or top 20. It doesn't really, not really a surprise anymore.
Do
As the
I? Is Wa an example of where Tohoto could have been?
Oh,
yes,
yeah. I don't know. I feel like that Mondraker just hasn't worked for him.
I mean, it's early days, right? It's not the end
Yeah,
of the world, but
it's lots of time to come. No, he rode
yeah.
good on it in New Zealand, so I don't really know what happened this season.
Oh yeah, he's insane here.
Probably the last person I'm going to point out of the top 20 was Matt Walker, New Zealand Matt Walker, 19th place. But fantastic result for him.
That was
a hell of
great.
a result.
And
Yeah.
he raced four cross. He got fourth in the four cross that night as
Fuck
well.
off.
No, he did
What
not.
what a
Yeah.
legend. He gets our
That's so good.
MVP.
Yeah,
He's the MVP of the weekend for sure.
he took the overall. He took the gravity overall.
Yeah, I think he qualified second in four cross, but then he went down in finals, so he ended up fourth. But he was in the main final.
What a hero.
Yeah,
That's amazing. I didn't know that. What a
he's
legend.
taking it back to the real days of downhill guys racing four cross or dual after the race.
Yeah, that's great.
So that was
That
pretty
is
cool.
great.
He still has another EWS round, right?
They've got like another 4 rounds or something.
What?
Oh,
They
is
do
it that
not have
many?
4.
Is it not that many? Maybe there's a couple, but I feel like
Several.
there's more than one.
They still have that Motocross Donations and finale, don't they?
And Enduro Des Nations.
Yeah, is that on again there, Des Nations?
I don't know. All I want to see is another e-bike race around a motocross track. Now you kind of throw those two together.
Oh, me
Like that-
too. Mostly
that.
because I was aiming for Bosch to send us all there.
Yeah, good luck with
So
that.
good.
No, we're not up to scratch on that type of racing, Red Dog.
Nah, so that's most of that. We touched on the fantasy at the start. So fantasy was won overall by the Flying Cow, who we have now identified as the infamous Cowboy.
It is.
Who you take it away, Red Dog. You alluded to at the start, but he hasn't even worked out how to listen to the podcast.
No, so I talked to Cal on the weekend. I bumped into Cal out on the trails, and it was fantastic to see him. And we were yarning, and then we were talking about the podcast, and he said, "Yeah, I was the one that beat you." And was it St. Anne or wherever?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was St. Anne.
St. Anne.
And I was like, "What? It was you? Why didn't you say anything?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't listen. I don't have any podcast apps, so I've never listened. But I'm in your fantasy league." and he's in deep. He's like, I can't stop playing with it. Like I'm always changing the team. Like, and I said, since St. Anne, I haven't changed mine. So, he certainly got me beat. But yeah, he takes the overall.
That is that's fantastic that someone who's not even listening to the podcast won. I mean, that's probably why he won, because he wasn't listening to
Probably, yeah.
any of our terrible takes.
The best
So
thing
he,
is that it'll be such a joy to Bradshaw to know that the coveted chamois will go to Cow.
That's fantastic. Can we get a picture of him in it?
that's
Oh,
amazing.
we
It's,
should get a picture of him in it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now we don't have to get someone an actual prize. We can just give them that pack and save chamois.
Exactly. Someone had also lent him an e-bike for a trip to the gorge. Now, that doesn't sound like the smart thing to do.
No, I wouldn't be lending him a bike.
No.
Terrible
Who
idea.
takes an e-bike to the gorge?
Yeah, I don't know. KB, can you get back to us when you do some market research, please?
Yep, when I get out there for some market research, I'll
Yep.
let you know.
Yep.
There is an e-bike package you can do there though, where you just get one shuttle and then you have to go pedal up the hill of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving
No,
on.
yeah.
Good
Hey
to
guys, New Zealand just got another wicket, so it's going quite well.
Are you
Just
doing the
keeping up to
podcast
date.
or are you watching cricket?
What's the score, Dog?
Australia are 27 for 4,
What did we put on?
230, 240. Riveting.
It's a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Riveting
All right,
stuff.
cool.
Someone called XC Whippet decimated the podcast league at the final round with a solid 900 points. Don't know who that is.
That's not possible. That's impossible.
Who are they?
They had
900.
Yeah, so their team
How
was
many did I score that time?
Charlie Hatton, Oliver Zwar, Bernard Kerr, Andreas Kolb, Nina Hoffman, and Jess Blewett. They fucking smashed it.
That is an insane
Everyone,
team.
if they weren't on the podium, was top 10.
Oh, man.
It's incredible.
Mm.
You know, I reckon the trick to fantasy downhill is
Not playing it, because fuck, it sucks.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, I suck.
I'd say that's probably the best piece
up
of
there.
advice you can get. Secondary piece of advice is change your team when people get injured.
Just change your team in general is probably a pretty good idea.
So that's what you do. Who would have thought?
Yeah. So has our league been a success, do you think?
Well, we had about 40. We had 49 people playing.
Would you call that a community?
Yeah, have we built a community?
I think we've built a community.
You know what that shows me? That there's 49 people that. Well, there's not 49 people.
There's not 49 people that listen.
There's possibly 48 people that listen.
Potentially.
Who knows how many more of them don't listen either?
There are 23,000 people that play fantasy downhill league globally.
Oh, we haven't done too bad. We've got a small market share.
I'll just work up percentages out there. 1 second.
Okay, we'll keep gobbling away at them. We'll see what we can get.
We'll just baby steps. Baby steps.
Yep.
We'll get there when it's time.
We will.
So
building an empire,
guys.
Yeah, that is a 0.002% percentage of people who are that into downhill that they'll play fantasy league online.
It's better than 0% though.
It is.
Exactly.
We're up,
boys.
That's good. We're on the up. We'll get more next year. We'll get them back. So I think
growth has to start somewhere.
Guys, I think it's time. I think it's time to announce something big that's going to go down in 2023.
Well, you had me there for a second, but it will be 2023.
Yeah, it will be. I think that's next year.
Would you call this the beginning of something special?
I think so. I'm getting kind of all warm and fuzzy just thinking about it.
Excited.
Who's going to make the announcement?
I'll start with a question.
All right.
Question for you, Red Dog. Where are you going to be? I think it's the 23rd of February, is it?
That sounds close enough.
That's close enough.
I'll be enjoying a nice Lone Star meal somewhere. That's what I'll be doing.
Kerry, whereabouts?
I think we'll probably be in Queenstown at the Coronet Peak National Round? Probably more like the 25th. Probably right around National
Okay.
Champs.
Yeah, National
Champs
Champs time.
weekend.
National champs. So we're talking national champs.
And what do we love more than current downhill racing?
Really old downhill racing.
Actually, I've got a side thing for this. Maybe we should hire the Lone Star and we'll watch some old downhill movies and we'll have a party there.
Perfect.
Oh, that's sounding
Perfect.
like high admin. It's sounding like high
That
admin.
is sounding like high
No,
admin.
no. This is the rules of the 26 champs. Someone comes up with an idea, you lock it in.
Yep.
No debate.
You don't think about it.
We need a
So
sports
that-
bar.
It gives
So-
me a great deal of honour to announce that the 26-inch national champs will be taking place at Coronet Peak next year, same weekend as the actual national champs.
Because
Exclusive.
you'll actually have to be entered into that race
Yeah.
to be
You have to
eligible.
race the actual national champs.
There will actually be no real admin on our side other than calculating results at the end of the day. But
Exactly.
we have some plans on a 26-inch national championship. This is why we were looking for a D2 last round, because that will be part of the trophy. It has to be and can only be a D2. I mean, a 26-inch wheel is way too much admin for someone to take home with
No
them.
one's flying down with that.
You
No,
can't
no
put
way.
that in the plane.
No.
Nah. So we'll be part of the national champs at Coronet Peak. We've basically set the rules as you need to have wheel size that is no bigger than 26 inch. We will accept 24, 26 inch mullet if you are so inclined to go that way, but nothing bigger than 26.
Has to be both wheels under. Both wheels under.
Oh yeah, obviously. And basically that's the only rule. You have to race national champs, and you have to pre-register with us for to be in the running for it. But that's
Correct. There will be a homologation. We will we'll get some stickers, and much like an EWS, we'll put those on your wheels, and absolutely will not check those ever again.
no.
But you need to come and get homologated. Chris will be out there with a tape measure to make sure that everything's within Kui.
That's exactly right. So let's just run through things top to bottom. The rules themselves are pretty light. All entries must have 2 wheels, and each wheel
Ken Louis,
must
you're
have a
out.
maximum. Pardon me?
Ken Louis out.
Ken.
You remember Ken Louis, the unicycle guy?
Yeah, he's out. He's not
gone.
playing.
He's gone.
He's fucked.
Yeah.
In fact, if he shows up, we're stealing his unicycle. He's out.
Yeah, he's out.
Maximum 26 inch. 2 wheels required.
No
other
trikes.
real rules, but there's quite a lot of admin. This is an admin heavy event.
It is.
Rule
Very
light,
admin heavy.
admin heavy. So I'm going to run through the admin as we've documented it so far. So first point of admin, racers must register in advance via the OTB podcast, and we will share a registration form sometime in the future.
Yeah, sometime closer. We'll get a
I
Google.
won't-
We'll,
Yeah,
You
let's
know,
not do it now. It seems
we'll
hard.
get a Google sheet out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Maybe
make
a
too many
Google sheet.
commitments, but we will share a registration form. But the point is, you have to register in order to be eligible for the win. All races will be required to check in at the OTB pit location.
TBC.
Yeah, exactly. Also, we don't know where that is, but that's for homologation check. So that's, are your wheels of the correct size?
Could just
That's
be a white ute
about
in the
all.
car park like it was last year. So
It probably will be. It'll either be a white
Hopefully,
ute
we can get
or an
another.
old
Yeah, that'd be
van.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Or
it'll
a
just be
Conifer
the three of
camper.
us.
That'd be nice as well.
Exactly. It'll also just be the 3 of us giving you shit about your entry. Your entry being your bike, by the way. So we refer to our bikes as entries. That's another rule.
Just like Bathurst, yes.
Admin rule. Races. Now, this is probably the most important piece. Racers will be invited and expected to attend the pre-race dinner, which will be held at Lone Star Queenstown, and the post-race party, which will also be held at Lone Star Queenstown, under the guise of let's get fucked up like old times.
It's a good opportunity to try and lure some of the people who've been out of racing and want to make a return.
I think Queenstown's probably got a pretty good area. You know, it's a pretty good catchment area for it too.
Oh, I hope so.
I think so.
I think it's got some prestige. being the 26-inch national champion.
Do you think we can lure anyone like, high
Do we
end?
want to put some names in?
Well,
there?
we've
You know,
tried
like
to lure
names
you.
in there.
We've tried to lure you, but you've shut us down. So currently, the entries are just Chris and I.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
just
early
Red Dog.
days.
Although, having said that, we've seen expressions of interest from a few people. Red Dog, do you want to talk about the community that's expressed interest?
Oh, there's been interest expressed, although certain party who is on the lookout for his old cove has since said he may be looking for something more modern. So that's a real downer.
What wheel size? Well, let's
Yeah,
call him
no,
out. Sam Baker's racing on a 26-inch, so that's draw card.
Who wrote a
yep, fine.
code?
Oh, I don't know why he wants it.
Oh, is it?
I want him
Baker.
to get
Oh,
the
I forgot
yeah
Baker wrote a cove.
yeah he did yeah
Do you
yeah.
think I can get this Rankin spec 2002
Yes,
Foes
yes, I do.
DH10 built, and we can get him on a fly in,
Oh,
fly out on
oh,
the post?
What,
that
flying
would be
from
so
Wanaka?
nice. That'd be so
No,
nice.
no, not Rankin. Get Rankin down for it.
Oh, Rankin.
Yeah, get ranking on it.
On the Rankin
No,
bike.
he's too busy for that, eh?
Someone has to bring out the Lahar. Like Punter has
He's got two of
Horse's
them.
old one. He's got the world champs. Surely, can we fly Horse in from Iran?
Can we get
Is
Horse
there,
in from Iran to get back on the
Yeah.
2006 World Champ bike? In
will
the
the show
rainbows?
budget stretch to that?
Does he know where the rainbow is?
Yeah, well,
Didn't he lose the rainbow jersey?
No, he lost the. He's got no idea where the rainbows are.
the show
All I will
budget
know.
will stretch to an official information request to
Oh, no IA.
NOIA
Yeah.
to whoever looks after Horse.
Who does look after him? Yeah,
Who knows? He's on a diplomatic situation. Get him back
His
into
handler.
the country.
Yeah.
His handler. We need to talk to his handler. To get him back to the country to race, fly in, fly out, 1 weekend only. I mean, that's the gist of everyone coming to this race. Fly in, fly out, 1 weekend only. Make it stick. And
slip, slap.
yeah, that's it.
JK still has a D8 turn a DHR. Do you reckon we could get him to bust that out and bring it down?
Oh man,
Well,
that'd be a
this-
dream. It's
We
a
could
dream
live our
come
childhood
true.
right?
heroes of just getting all these guys together for a race.
we could. Yeah.
So there's one last point of admin that I'm going to announce with no substance behind it whatsoever, that there's $500 being awarded to the fastest 26-inch on the day.
TBC. I mean,
TBC.
we've had
And
a hard time
full-
getting any sponsors, so we might have to start like some crowdfunding,
Totally. Full disclosure, we don't know where that money's coming from.
or if it's going to exist.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know if it's real or if it's coming from anywhere.
What we might do is start a crowdfunding campaign, and what you guys put in is what the winner takes back.
And
Exactly.
there's an obligation from the winner to just convert that straight onto the bar. Is that
Well,
right?
actually, that's
100%.
because normally it's sort of like a 10%, of your winnings on the bar type scenario, I think. But this will be 100% is expected to go on the bar.
You can't. Yeah. all
Maybe
of it.
that's a better way of doing it is everyone's entry fees go straight on the bar.
Yeah.
But we can't take the entry fees though because we're not Bike NZ.
Yes, we can. And why not? I'm going to go back to admin point number 1. Races must register in advance via the entry form available from the OTV podcast. So we could both collect entries and money.
Right, so we're going to double the charge for them.
Yep.
What are we offering in terms of a race event? Like
No, nothing
over
really.
and above
Prize.
what? Yeah. Over and above what Bike NZ's offering.
Part of something bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of history.
Yeah.
Part of
You
history.
say that people who race the 26 inch nationals are contributing to the culture of the sport?
Local economy.
Do you think I
Local
should
economy?
start sowing
Yep.
the seed with, or
Yes.
throwing some lines
You've already
out?
done that.
Well, I've sowed a couple of seeds. Do you think I should throw some lines out and see if I can get some bites from anyone, maybe an event organizer or something down there to just put our own class in there.
Put a category
You just
in.
throw a little
Yeah.
class in
Yeah,
there. It's
chuck a
not
class
too
in there.
hard.
Chuck
Just
it in there. Just chuck it in
chuck
there.
it in.
I've got a question for you, Kerry.
Would you race
while
2
we're-
classes, Kerry?
That's my question.
Yeah, if there was a separate class, I'm in.
So you get 2 race runs.
I'll race the. Actually, there's a very tidy 26-inch V10 around. Could probably get on that, or I'll race the Sunday.
Or he'd race
Look,
that
you
foes.
do you, mate. But you've heard the rules.
Yep.
Also, by the way, if you don't race 2 classes, you can't come to dinner.
Yep. Oh,
Right.
no, hang on. What if he's paying?
Yeah, he can come to dinner.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. Yeah.
If the
I see.
OTB pod is paying, then he can come.
Yeah,
see
if
how
the
this
OTP
works.
pod's paying, yeah.
My
Well,
accountant
that's
will
an
probably shut
exciting
that down.
announcement. It's an exciting announcement.
It is. It's going to be a busy weekend because I think I've even got myself in for racing cross country as well. So
Have you?
I think so. I think it's on the
Oh,
cards.
Yeah, that's another
he's
point of
looking for
admin.
another title. He's on the hunt.
Yeah.
Kerry's doing the full John Tomac. He's racing downhill cross country, 26-inch nationals, which I'm pretty sure John Tomac raced back in the day.
Yeah.
And he's
He
putting
was
drop bars
he was
on
a
everything.
26-inch legend.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Watch out for Tour of Southland next year or something, guys. Yeah, might be there.
So, any specific call outs? I know we sort of briefly touched on it, but anyone you'd like to see at 26 Internationals? We talked about it briefly last weekend with Leicester. Kerry, do you want to dive into that?
Anyone that we would like to see specifically?
Yep.
Everyone.
Yep. Now's the chance.
Everybody. I mean, who'd be great to get back? Let's get Glenn Siserich on a bike.
Oh, you know what? He could probably pull a bike off. Who is it? Henry Van Ash has got
Oh,
the
all
old
those
collection
GTs.
of GTs. So we could just all fly down there, not bring bikes, and
Yep.
just go to Henry Van Ash's shed
Yep.
and pull out all of the GTs.
Just pick a GT off the wall. You could also do that in Tim McKenzie's shed.
Or Ivan Woods. Ivan just go into his house and just pick up a bike. He's got plenty.
Yeah, it'll be like you go in, you get set up, you choose your bike, and you get set up, and then you roll out.
Yep. Yeah. And he could field a whole class.
He could field an entire race.
Yeah.
Maybe he should sponsor the event.
I think he spends all his money on retro downhill bikes, though.
Which is a weird thing to spend money on.
Yeah, you do you.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean,
It's not like
we've just
kind of
spent 15 minutes talking about how we're trying to relive the old days. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not a worthy thing to spend money on. I'm saying it's a weird thing to spend money on.
there's far weirder.
That's right.
Who else do we want to see make a return? We could try and pull back out of the woodwork.
I want to make a special call out to Joel Daniels. He's in the area.
He's not far, is he?
Oh, yeah, he
And
would
if
be
he-
good.
and it-
Get him
and
on
it wouldn't
Dutch
be
comp.
hard to-
Dutch comp.
Exactly. It wouldn't be hard to
With a
find one.
squeaky shock.
Yeah.
That's it. A special call out to Banger, who, I mean, he's always been a fan of vintage machinery.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got to say. Banger, would love to see there.
Byron Scott.
Byron Scott, yep.
Byron Scott famously only listens to the first 9 minutes of the podcast, but so he won't get this far. But it sucks for him because that still counts as a listen. So
Does it? 9 minutes. Good to
in
know.
fairness, I mean, look, I'd love to see Byron at the race, but I'd be more interested in seeing Byron at the after party as the captain of the after party. So,
yep, the infamous "Let's get fucked up like old times" Doddsy after party may or may not have been championed by one Byron Scott, who I helped make a Facebook event for it.
Did you help? How did you help?
I showed him how to do it.
Oh.
Whilst we were enjoying a curry.
Well, I mean,
he didn't know how to
the
make
camper
it.
van admin eluded both of them, really, didn't it, over there? So it's not surprising that he couldn't rustle up an event.
No, not surprising at all.
So we won't go on too much more about this, but I do want to ask a few specific questions about Red Dog and his preparations for the event.
Yes.
Just to give our listeners an understanding of how serious we are about this, Red Dog got a new bike for the race.
Oh, yeah, we purchased the new chassis.
Go on.
After seeing Chris's Zero last year, I just had to have one. So we've got in the stable now an ex-Scalzi G2, which maybe we should just make him do a parade lap on that, just for old time's sake.
He's also in the area.
He is in the area, although he might be in the islands. So yeah, that's what we're pulling together this year for next year. Looking for that 2-6 title. At this stage, it's just I just have to beat Chris. So
yeah, well, I mean that's a given.
You guys can have your own battle in that one at the moment. It'll all come
But
around.
yeah, we're looking forward to it. I just think it's a good way to entice some people back to racing. I think the 2.6 specific class has some merit. Even if you're a junior, you can still be running 26-inch wheels. Come on over.
Well, this is what I like about the class,
should we put an age limit on it though?
No, it's everyone, anyone.
100%.
Yeah,
No, you're going all
This is the good
inclusive.
thing
See,
about it is
all
I feel
inclusive.
like it should be for the people that only remember what having a 26-inch
no.
wheel is
See,
like.
this is the thing: is if I see a 15-year-old who is the right size to be riding a 26-inch bike, whose parents know enough to go and find that kid a 26-inch downhill bike, and they podium at the 26-inch nationals,
Yeah,
not only do they get our kudos, but they get to come to the after party, we buy the beers,
yeah.
and you've got your next Sam Blinkenstop on your hands, just like that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Well, I
Well,
mean, they still have to
So-
register and stuff, you know.
yeah, I mean clearly.
So to the parents out there of aspiring young downhillers who are looking for a downhill bike,
If you want them to
don't
make their next step in their career, winning this title, this would be the pathway.
don't go and buy them an off-the-shelf race rig. Go and find a clapped out old 26-inch downhill bike. Scour around for some old parts. Red Dog's got some old brakes and some old shit that's come off his pivot. So
Check out
I've got
Facebook
a full rig.
Marketplace.
Yeah, check out Marketplace and get it out of my shed.
that's it.
I threw out
Come racing with the old boys.
3 swing arms the other day, cracked swing arms.
As you do.
Two intenses and a Tomac that were just sitting around in mum and dad's garage. I was
That's niche, eh?
like, these don't need to be around anymore. I'll throw these in the bin. Cracks everywhere. 26-inch was a vibe.
That it was.
Right, that's enough for this episode. I don't know what the future's going to hold, but we're basically all out racing now. So,
well, hang on, just a quick one. That was the last Red Bull broadcast.
yes, good point.
And
I actually meant to bring that up.
there was a few little things from Rob. They did a pretty. They wrapped up the men's XC. Men's XC was officially their last broadcast. They also had some at the end of the men's downhill where they all got together and kind of said a few words as well. But he was like visibly quite gutted, I think.
Oh, he's been the voice of downhill for how many years now? 12? 14?
14. Like he would have been there. Was he there in 2008? Yeah, because that's when Hill was at Val Di Sole.
Yeah.
So you're like 14 years.
Yeah.
Freecaster,
That's
Red Bull.
big
They
party
hinted
in
at-
I've got to say, symbolically, it's sort of the end of the era, though, right? Like,
It really is, yeah.
because he's been the voice of the sport as long as the sport's been broadcast, but he's also been he's been around the sport and he's been the sort of the culture of the sport for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think him stepping out and this move to Discovery and the way that racing's sort of evolving and everything, it is. I think we're moving into a different era.
Yeah,
we were
it
here.
certainly feels
We were
that way.
here, guys. We were sitting on the couches, commenting on it from a distance. We were here.
You always remember this time. It's going to
Where
be
were you?
big shoes to fill his spot and have someone as good as him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you can get someone who's professional and good at what they do, but to have his knowledge and his passion and everything that he brings to it, that is huge shoes to fill.
Yeah, you'd think like after this many years in that seat, he maybe would have been like, like my time's come. 14 years or whatever, it might even be 15 years of doing that. Even though the first years were when he was steamed doing it for Freecaster, but like
those were the best years.
Yeah, great years, but but he didn't seem like he was ready to give it up. And when they signed off from those broadcasts, you kind of left you thinking like, shit, what we have here is an insanely good product for free.
Yeah.
And now it's all just quite unknown. But, that's not a bad thing. It's just like, as a fan, you'd love something you look forward to the World Cups and you love racing, and then having the uncertainty there is kind of lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to say, I've been a proponent of the changes throughout the podcast this year. I'm excited for next year. I think it's going to be good. I
Mm.
think that they might have a bumpy year as they establish the feeder series that starts to sort of support these guys coming in and racing elite. But I'm excited to see a consistent top 30. These guys starting to have big profiles being built,
Yeah.
and also I think one of the things that's not been, I don't think it's been understood well enough is what Discovery could do for the storytelling around the sport. Red Bull covers the races on the weekends, but they don't do anything outside of that, at least for downhill racing.
Nah, not a
Yeah.
heck
And I
of a
reckon there's a
lot.
lot of opportunity to tell the story behind the racing.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
And that's a
I
lot
guess we'll
easier
wait
when
and
you've
see.
only got 30 guys to do
Ride
it
to
with, right?
survive.
Ride to survive. Yeah.
100%. Like these guys, I bet you they're looking at all these big media outlets at the moment that are covering sports are looking at Drive to Survive going, that's the way you cover sports now.
Yeah,
You
that's how
don't
you
just
do
do
it.
it on the
Yeah.
weekend, you do it on the weekend, plus the off season, plus everything in between.
I'm really interested to see how I don't know whether you guys know, but there's going to be a Tour de France version, style documentary, right?
Yeah.
Drive to
Yeah.
Survive next year. I'm really interested to see how that one looks. I think it'll be quite good if it's all
Yeah. I mean,
connected
But,
right.
it's a
but a
fantastic
homework for you
outlet.
guys.
Yes.
Go and watch.
Homework.
I know this is a Red Bull thing, but to give you a bit of an idea of what they could do with it, go and watch. There's a show called The Strife, which is Streif. Essentially, it's about one particular race, downhill ski race in Austria that's
Always
really,
comes
really
back to
famous.
downhill skiing with
I
this
know,
Always
guy.
comes
I
back
know,
to
it always comes
skiing.
back down skiing.
Yeah. Yeah. How are your edges, boys?
Sharp, and well paid.
Fair.
Go and watch that, and that's the storytelling that doesn't exist in downhill at the moment. So, give me a full documentary about Fort William, about all the history and all the rest of it, and make that a series. Whatever. I
All
don't
I
know.
want to
They'll do
see
something
is
with it.
Hill winning in 07.
Yeah.
100%.
And
He's
Emery
part of
not
the
winning
history.
world champs there. That's all we want to see.
Anyway, it's your dinner time, isn't it, Red Dog?
We're
Yeah,
far past it.
9:42.
The other thing, just we'll quickly touch on. They seemingly have a riders union rep or riders union fight up
Yeah,
with Siegenthaler
Nico
and Nico.
and yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Very
They're
interesting.
all looking at
Is
signing a
Nico the
union
guy?
contract as well.
Yeah.
So it's
So is this the one that Loic and Finn fired up?
yeah,
Seemingly,
I
yeah.
think it seems like they
And
kind of got it all going, and now it's really started happening. And so they had top 20 or top 30 or something voted reps into place, and
Yep.
then so yeah, they're going to be kind of like the union representatives, and even Emily said that it's they're going to be contract in place. Everyone's going to sign a contract and that sort of thing as part of this
Mm.
union, and so it's pretty full on.
Yeah, and they've worked out how decisions would get made in terms of what would be a majority and all that sort of stuff. It's quite
And
interesting. It'd be very hard to pull off. I'm
yeah,
kind of surprised that they've got
Uh,
agreement for everyone.
Sean Heimdall's
but
back too. The
there's
old Monster
precedent for this
Energy.
stuff as well,
Yeah,
right?
Doing what?
This is
he's going to be the team manager's representative, from what I understand.
Right. Hmm.
So
but this is the thing. There's precedent for all of this, right? So
Yeah.
I know that downhill's not F1. I know it's not ski racing, but this is literally the playbook that was rolled out for the drivers' representative group. I don't know what they're called
the DRG.
in F1. They might be
Hmm.
that, and the constructors' championship. So the constructors have representation at F1, and the drivers have representation at F1. And it came about because of safety, and it came about because of media stuff, and it came about of all the same things that downhill's dealing with at the moment. It's growing pains, and these guys need the representation to make sure that they get, a piece of the pie.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I
It's
just
a good
think,
thing. It's awesome.
but in a sport like F1, it is a far more pointy and professional sport than downhill is now. So just getting agreement on things when you've got, privateers can still come and race and things. So it's
Yeah.
it's a step in the professional direction by a long way.
But those, like the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Association, came about like 35, 40 years ago when it wasn't professional, right? So those things came about at a time when those sports were probably at the same sort of place that downhill's now, where guys are getting paid good money, the manufacturers have got some level of representation, there's debates over media rights and about how you expand the sport. And now it's suddenly getting really professional really quickly. And so we go, okay, well, we need representation for the people that put the show on. And I don't know, I'm optimistic.
Oh no, I don't think the union's a bad thing. It's a huge step in the right direction, I would think, in terms of consistency, safety, all that stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, like that bridge at the end of Val Nord this year was a big factor, I think, and a lot of this kind of really firing up and getting going. So it'll be interesting to see if things like that come up again and how it's all handled.
Same with, I guess, Brooks' injury and things, and how that was handled was a real catalyst for this as well. So.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And how they balance the need for tracks that are good for cameras and good for top to bottom filming, and also good for racing and good for the sport in general. Because I think that's going to be a really interesting battle over the next couple of years.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. That's enough of that.
Cool.
We've talked everyone's ears off for an hour and a half, so that'll be enough for this week. Like I said, I don't know when we'll be back, but we've got a few topics up our sleeves, so we'll probably see you again later this month, maybe, if we get something off the ground. But other than that,
maybe not.
Yeah. Other than that, thanks for listening this season. I'm sure we'll talk to you again. But
And congratulations, Cowboy.
Yeah, congratulations,
On the huge
Cowboy.
win.
Signing off from the OTV podcast. We'll see you sometime soon.
Thanks, everybody.
What's up?
I come from the land of down under. I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, drop like I'm supposed to. B-L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.